get a break, that failed, I'm okay with it. So now I'm feeling like that I'm not a fan of remote Fridays. But I don't know how we can not help them. We're going to be worse than we were when we started. If I'm wrong, please tell me. Nadine, tell me. You're way smarter than me if I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
There's three people that I'm concerned about. It's kids, teachers, and parents. And I don't want this to make the paper. We're not doing a good job on either three of the three. That sounds terrible for me to say. Parents are losing money, which means kids are losing food. We've not talked about it. We've talked about a remote Friday, though. And we might need them. I don't know. We've talked about kids that don't get to go to school, which is terrible. But we've talked about remote Friday. I don't know the answer. Can we do it without a remote Friday? I don't think we're doing a good job with a remote Friday. So I don't know the answer. I don't know how I would even vote on this. So it'll be a surprise. I don't know.
She had a finger.
I did, I changed my mind. It's that time of night.
All right, Ms. Hamlin.
So, Mr. Brackett,
Yes,
this
ma'am.
packet of emails we've gotten from teachers all over this county.
Believe me, I've seen them.
Yeah, so what we're saying is remote Fridays have not been helpful to them.
Who said that?
I mean,
Who said they've not been helpful?
I thought you just said that. No.
No, I never
Okay,
said that.
sorry, I must have mentioned.
I said we need to help them. I know they've been helpful.
Oh, yes.
They've not been helpful for parents and a lot of kids.
Oh, that's right.
That's what I said.
Okay, sorry, thank you. I didn't.
That is quite okay.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Miller. I do want to say that there was a motion made. Is it the best motion? I don't know. To try to help all three. The motion was to hire interim teachers for the rest of the school year, do away with remote Fridays except at the high school level, and the good standing. Do I know it's the best answer? I don't have any idea. But I know it was a compromise to try to help all three groups. And it failed. And I can't vote for the next one, the motion that's on the floor. I'm not going to vote for it. Because it's just not, we're not doing it right. When you got 2,500 kids that are in school and 300 out of school, we're getting sideways somewhere. I'm willing to compromise and work on it anyway, but we've got to try to take care of all the groups to the best of our ability. And I just don't think this motion does that.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Miller, any motion made tonight can still be brought back because nothing failed. It just failed for lack of majority. It's 5-5 on the tie vote of them. So any one of those could be brought back to the floor because there's, by any member, because it's just a fail for lack of majority.
Mr. Chairman, we have a motion on the floor.
I know that.
Can you help me?
Yes.
And what is the motion that's on the floor?
Is to resume what we're doing, I think, is a vote right.
But there weren't any time constraints.
No, it's basically what we're doing now. Correct?
At what time?
What do you mean, what kind? I know.
Well, I don't, so let me also ask another question here, Mr. Chairman.
Let's clear the motion first. Are we putting the time frame up for the entire second semester, 9
Or
weeks?
should we, I'd say the end of third 9 weeks and review it again.
What we-
The end of the third 9 weeks and let's review it again. Now, can I also make an amendment to that? Because on Dr. McFall's first and second about kids coming back that are not, you know what I'm talking about? The first and the second one, and giving her direction that she can get these kids back into school that are failing or that are at risk. Can we add those two in there?
If the person made it, Ms. Hampton, I think made the second, if she wants to include that in it, I'll let you include that in it.
So the first and second, I think, needs to be added in there, and then extend remote Fridays, and then we reevaluate the end of the third 9 weeks.
We have a motion on the floor. Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Ms. Owen,
Yes?
Ms. Tate,
No.
Mr. Brackett,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
No.
Ms. Hamilton,
Yes.
Ms. Jackson,
No.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
No.
Mr. Taylor,
No.
Mr. Wright.
No.
Four yes, 6 no.
That motion fails.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Jackson.
I would like to make a motion to reconsider the motion that was originally made with good standing only for the students to continue remote learning, for students to choose by January 7th for the semester, whether they're remote or in person, and Dr. McFall's original recommendation to hire interim teachers for middle school and elementary for the remote learners, and for high school to continue with a half-day, high school to continue with 4 days in school, 1 day remote learning for all high school students, with the exception of any special needs students that could come to school, even at the high school level on those days.
I say that.
Second by Mr. Miller. Ms. Jackson.
I think we've already discussed this, and you know I have concerns about this, on how it would really help the problem, but we're at a standstill here with trying to do anything to continue to help best meet the needs of all of our students without sacrificing the needs of some. So that's my motion.
Mr. Miller.
No.
Any comment? Ms. Hamilton.
Will you please clearly state the motion?
Yes.
You please.
Just let Dr. McFall do
It's your
that.
first. It's your first.
I agree.
You want me to do that? The motion is, goes back to, I think he marked. Yeah, it's the original person, which is only students of good standing will be remote for the second semester. She discussed that. Parents choose by January the 7th for remote or in school, or remote for the second semester. 9 through 12 would be Friday remote learning. In other words, high schools only would have Friday remote learning. Hire interim teachers for elementary and middle schools to teach remote students. Is that correct? Dr. McCall?
Yes.
Is that correct? Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
I'm gonna say one thing if I can. Again, we sat here, we beat this to death for an hour, 15 minutes or longer. That's how important it is. It makes no difference. It makes absolutely no difference what we do. Ms. Jackson mentioned basically 3 groups: teachers, students, and parents. It's like sitting here trying to play Sodom. Do we split the baby in half? Again, there's no easy answer. And it weighs hard on everybody here. And the best we can do is to try to find the middle ground, as Mr. Miller said a while ago. And I think that's what we're trying to do. So that's my comments. Anyone else have any more?
So elementary and middle school will not get a Friday.
That is correct. It's in the motion. They will have, be hired teachers to teach remote.
Except quarantine, so they're still gonna be expected to do the same amount of
That's
work.
in, that, I think the motion says hired interim to teach elementary and middle school students. Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Ms. Tate?
Yes.
Mr. Brackett?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yeah.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. King?
No.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Oren?
No.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
7 yes, 3 no.
As the chair, I'd like to thank each and every board member. I know this has been long, and we still got a little bit to go. But thank you for your questions, thank you for your concerns, and I know everyone voted with their heart. And I know it's not the best outcome that everybody probably wanted, but I think we all did the best we can. Okay, new business, recommendation of director, approval of surplus technology equipment to be recycled and disposed of Kingston Elementary, Midway High, Ridgeview Elementary.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I second it.
Motion by Mr. Miller, second by Ms. Owen. Mr. Miller?
No.
Ms. Owen?
No, sir.
Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Brackett?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Oren?
Yes.
Ms. Tate?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor? Mr. Wright?
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 2, approval of 2021 category budget transfers, general purpose school fund, 141 into 71,300 vocational education program.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hamilton, second by Mr. Miller. Ms. Hamilton?
Yeah.
I yield, Eric.
Thank you. Mr. Duff, CTE director, wanted to move some of his money around in the GPS fund, so he's just moving money, non-payroll lines within the 71300 category. And it looks like he's taking money from equipment, move it into contract services, instructional supplies, and other supplies and materials.
Sorry, moving it where?
To other contracted services and instructional supplies and other supplies and materials.
That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Oren?
Yes.
Ms. Tate?
Yes.
Mr. Brackett?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 3, approval of 2020-2021 budget amendment, federal projects fund,
So moved,
142.
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Brackett. Mr. Miller?
I yield, Eric.
Thank you. What we're doing here is moving money in the CARES Act, the COVID money, relief money, to where we're actually spending it. We will come back at the end of the year to move money around to cover the interim teachers that were approved if there's money left. So this is just moving it around where we're spending it. We can find the funds.
Mr. Brackett?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Oren?
Yes.
Ms. Tate?
Yes.
Mr. Brackett?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor? Mr. Wright?
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 4, approval of 2021 budget amendment, general purpose school fund 141, centralized cafeteria fund 143, school transportation fund 144, and education capital projects fund 177. Chair. Motion by
I second.
Ms. Hamilton, second by Ms. Horn. Ms. Hamilton?
No.
No, sir.
You have any input on it, Eric?
I actually have an adjustment for some CTE grants. Lance had thought that these were going to go to the school. They come to us. So on the green sheet that I handed out, there are 2 stars on line 12. The CTE grant, middle school STEM, and middle school career. So there's 24,875. 20,000 is the middle school STEM, and 4,875. So there's 2 little sub-grants there that Lance and the CTE program received. So I want to make that as part of the motion. And for the minutes, I need to update you. If you can turn to your packet on page 141 on page 2, line 68, other vocation. We're adding that grant there, so that's going to be an add of 24,875. And that will be a total, in line 74, total state of Tennessee, for 34,193,165. I'll help you once again. On page 3, the total revenue and other sources, that will increase by the 24,875 to 57,012,336. You turn over to page 5, 188 software, that's where the 4,875 grant will be spent. In line 190, vocational equipment, that's where the 20,000 will be spent. The total, adjusted total for line 188 will be 4,875, for which we've had to actually insert that. No, that was an account there. So that total is 4,875, and then the vocational equipment will adjust from 58,000 to 78,000 on that line. Line 193 will adjust to 35,691,875, and that will adjust the total expenditures on page 15 to 57,461,498. So I'll go over the green sheet real quick with the stars on it with the new grant. So what we're doing is we are adjusting our grants in the 141 fund and a special request in the transportation. So we're adjusting DEP and some state revenue, 4,753 a reduction. Remote learning technology grant, 111, 1,828. That's to help us buy the Chromebooks. The LEAPS grant, we had a reduction of that funding, 102,500, and we reduced expenditures 100,342. School safety grant, prior year carryover 18,703. And with the safe schools grant, 6,244 revenue expenditures. We discussed the CPE grants and then the indirect cost adjustment to 142, 7,749. So what we're doing is increase in revenue 62,136, expenditures 61,308, and that's a net fund to fund equity of a positive $838. In the cafeteria fund, they got a donation, it's a grant from No Kid Hungry organization, and they're going to buy vehicles and equipment for $40,000 to transport food. They're doing a great job. The transportation fund, this is not a grant, this is a request from their transportation supervisor to the director to do additional projects. What they're going to do is they're going to purchase a tire changer, a heavy-duty balancer, a mobile lift, and a digital fleet system. So they are in need of some significant upgrades at the bus garage, and they're going to use their fund balance to make those upgrades.
Will they still have enough in their fund
They
balance?
will still have, they have about 480,000 fund balance they could use. They're using 209, so a portion of their fund balance they're going to be using to upgrade. And then the educational capital projects fund, this is where we buy our buses, and Derek's wearing these grants out. So the prior year, we had 2 grants. We couldn't claim them last year, so we need to reappropriate the revenue come in for a seatbelt grant and an engine grant. And then the new 2021 seatbelt grant for 42, so a total of 138,947, and that will just roll into that. You already budgeted for the purchase of the buses. This is just revenue coming in from the prior year bus purchase and for the health, fund the seatbelt.
Do these seatbelt grants, do they just, is this,
We've got them every year for the last 3 years, I
okay,
believe.
but who installs them? Do we have a company install them?
We actually, get them manufactured with the seatbelts on.
So we order
They're the new
them.
buses we purchased.
All the new buses for the last 3 years have seatbelts. The new
And
buses.
you're just taking in money because
And this is funded, it's been funded by the state. So this is, the 42,000, I believe, comes close to funding all the seatbelts on the 5 buses that we've been buying each year. We buy an average of about 5 buses a year. And that's all I have.
Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Oren?
Yes.
Ms. Tate?
Yes.
Mr. Brackett?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton? Mr. Taylor? Mr. Wright?
Yes. Okay, final comments. Ms. Hamilton.
Thank you, Chairman Wright, and Dr. McFall, and our teachers and administrators for continuing to do a great work and leading us. Thank you for a great meeting. Merry Christmas.
Ms. Horn.
Merry Christmas to everyone and Happy New Year. Stay safe, stay well, try to. And thank you to everybody like always. And I'm about over coming to every meeting here in the last 3 months and talking about losing a legend, but we've lost another one, so let's continue to remember their family.
Mr. Brackett.
Dr. McFall, I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that.
I'm used to it by now.
Okay.
You do it every single meeting.
Dan, you done a good job. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Mr. Miller.
Mr. Chairman, you did an outstanding job under the circumstances. I appreciate you. And I appreciate this whole board, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Ms. Tate.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you all for working tirelessly on trying to do what's best for everyone. And just thanking the teachers and the parents and the administration. It takes an army.
Ms. Jackson.
It's been a rough meeting. I'd like to thank, a special thanks to James Brummett and also to our county attorney, Greg Lefty. I think we got like 3 or 4 different stories about who owned that property. The railroad owned it, maybe the Hackle family owned it. I don't know, there were several different scenarios that. But then it turns out that James Brummett actually owned it, and I appreciate that he worked with us to help get the Oliver Springs Hospital project going, because we needed that, a clear title to that strip of land. So special thanks to James. I actually served with James on the county commission several years ago, and we appreciate him.
Coach King.
Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year.
Mr. Taylor.
Done a really good job, Mr. Chairman. Like we wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Mr. Cox, your time.
But I'd just like to hope everybody stays safe during this time, and everybody Merry Christmas.
Ms. White.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Everyone enjoy, stay safe during the Christmas break.
Dr. McFall.
No, sir, I just want to thank the board. There's no great answers, no ideal solutions, but we will do whatever we can to make the best situation for all involved.
For me, Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you enjoy the season, remember the reason, and hope everyone has a Happy New Year and stay safe. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Nailed it, didn't he? Look at